I didn't speak too long. I know it's long. I've been speaking for over an hour. I didn't realize it. But you are not tired.
No, sir. We're learning.
Okay, so let's hear the questions. Let's hear the comments. Let it roll. This is Let's Talk. You're here. Let the questions roll. Let the comments roll. Yes? Is the hand up there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
You spoke about assumption, and then you gave us a scenario like when people was honest, they saw Jesus walking on the ocean, and then they thought that Jesus is a ghost. So how do you want that for assumption?
How?
How?
Did that become an assumption?
Yes. How do you avoid it?
Oh, how do you avoid assumption? Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. That's a wonderful one. Now, when assumptions are born out of from the prophets, majorly myth, traditions, religion. These are things that are not proven, but we believe. And so when we see things that have that similitude, it's easy to fall back into the subconscious and bring out an answer. The subconscious, you don't think. The subconscious already has a deposit there. And that's why even in anger management, people are taught that when you are angry, because the reflex action that comes with the anger is from your subconscious. So it tells you either to hit or to fight or to be abusing back. And that's why if you want to control it, rather than allow your subconscious to dictate how you act, keep quiet, hold yourself, and bring yourself to a place of wisdom. So you transfer whatever instruction is given to you to do, bring it to your front and ask questions. Maybe what you are used to is to slap, and as your hand was going, bring it to the front and ask yourself, so if I slap him and he takes a hammer and break my head, what will happen? Your hand will come down. Do you understand what I'm saying? So if you don't learn to intercept the computer people will understand it. The central processing unit. That's where you have all the information about your life from the time you were in the womb. And your brain was developing. Everything is loaded there. The front part of the brain is that which processes new information. If you have never seen a Bentley, you don't know what it looks like. So when you say Bentley, what is that? A car. Or if I say Bentley, you say, what's that? Is that a cat? Or a beetle? No, but I say, oh, it's a car. A car. Oh, okay, so what does it look like? Like Mercedes. You start trying to find a picture. But because you've never seen it, there's no picture of it in your mind. So you can't see it. Are you getting me? Yeah. So the way to avoid assumption is to bring the picture in your mind in a reasoning place. So when they saw Jesus walking on water, instead of saying it's a ghost, they could have asked the question, what is this? I see something approaching here. Who could that be? Will it be Jesus? To avoid assumption, bring yourself to the place of asking questions. And if there is anything you are taking home again today, learn to ask questions. Many of us young parents are angry when our children ask questions. Because that's the only way to learn. So they ask questions. Thank you. Does that satisfy you? Okay, great. There's another hand at the back there.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the teaching today. I've learned a lot. At a point in this teaching, I'm getting to realize that I need to know myself more and even better, because the way the mind works, really, I assume a lot, and I agree totally with the teaching tonight. I'm taking home that I cannot separate myself from the way I think and my mindset, and the more reason why I need to go back and sit and ask more questions about myself to know why am I where I am, why have I not made much progress despite all I've learned, the values I've added to myself. And I believe that if I'm able to do that, then I'll make good the time I've spent here today. Thank you so much, Pastor.
Thank you. That's very profound. I hope we are all learning from what she said. Because you have to find time to sit down and ask yourself very, very serious questions. Very serious questions. You know what? You want me to tell you why? When someone around you is not doing right, what do we do? We talk to them. What do we talk to them? How many people even avoid the hard truth that they know about themselves, even when you want to think about it, you say, no. We hide from ourselves. We pamper ourselves and we deal with other people. And as long as we don't deal with ourselves, we cannot change. Stop pampering yourself. Ask yourself the hard truth. Ask yourself very hard questions. Thank you very much for that. Any other question, contribution, comment? I'm sure we've learned something here tonight. Anybody? Yes? Give the cup to my friend. The man the cup. Give him the mic. I know he has something to say. You can't run away from that.
Good evening, everybody. We came a little bit late, but I think we also have. We've learned a lot, and I have my colleague over there. His name is Abusama. He came with me today because I've been telling him about business talk for many years now. So at some point he sent me a message asking me, is Pastor speaking to us at the office because of some of the things. So I know he's learning a lot from here. Maybe I would like to pass him the mic if he wants to share something. I know he assumes a lot as well. So I just sent a message to our colleague telling her that I think assumption was meant for him. So I'll just pass him the mic. Maybe he wants to share.
Okay, Mr. Samba, let's hear you. Can we put our hands together for that? Let's encourage him. He's trying. Let's encourage him. Yeah, please go ahead. I want you to speak to the microphone.
I said, I'm glad to be here today.
Yeah.
It's very comforting. I believe I have a lot to hear.
Can we Can we put our hands together? I say he believes he has a lot to change from tonight. The change has started. The change has started. Awesome. Awesome. Yes, any other? Yes, there's the hand here.
I want to ask this question. When you started with the presentation, you talk about how far Africa is behind compared to our contemporary EU countries. I want to ask the question: has our tradition, religious messages that we send, have limited the African child for changing out of himself and performing as compared to the European world? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very big question.
Didn't get the question.
Okay, that as use this microphone. I think
That one has
That's right. So when you began the presentation, you spoke about how the African child or the African man is not able to go out of his bounds to discover himself, to do more. And the focus and the mindset is just to make money and focus. But in the contemporary world, people are given the opportunity to discover themselves within the short term at a tender age. And I want to ask, has our tradition, custom setups, and religious practices limited the African child or the African man to develop as compared to the contemporary world? Thank you.
is that the way you hear the question?
Yeah.
What part religion and our tradition has played in limiting us from growing? Everything. It has played a major role. In fact, the main of our problem, our society today, is our religious practice. We are religious, but we don't believe. We don't believe. I don't, when I was young, in primary school, I was told, God have mercy. We were told that you can pass the exam without studying. I don't know whether you lived in that era, but I lived in that era, and what we did then, I don't know how it spread, was to kill a lizard and then use the blood of the lizard. How old was I? 8 years, 9-year-old. And put the blood of the lizard on a metal ring, and there's some nonsense in the house us to do. But when you fail, you will know that it is not so. At another point in time, they told us all you need is a white handkerchief. When you get to exam class, spread the handkerchief on your answer sheet and submit. And then that's what I never did any of these things. So we're a society that believes in not working but having the reward of work. So it's not the religion that is wrong. It is the who we are, because we don't enjoy working hard to get the reward of our work. And so when religion comes and says, pray and money will come, you are not working. You are praying God to give you a house. Huh? How will that be? You are not studying. You are praying, God, let me pass exams. How will that be? God will write the exams for you. I like that. Do you understand? So, the teachings we get about faith is absolutely correct. But the ingredients that they give us, or that we are given in practicing faith, is not, I don't think it is 100% from God. That's my stand. That's my stand. So we live in a society that celebrates mediocrity. What shall we do? Go ahead.
Well, it was a very technical question you asked. My opinion on the subject raised is number one for me. Number one is what we eat. What we eat. Sorry. I think for me, what we eat has contributed to who we are. The African man eats too much. True. Number two, we are not taught to ask questions. So the process of engaging our mind was not there. Unlike the other side, they allow their children to ask them questions and they explain things to them. But in Africa, when you do something wrong, they will not tell the reason why you did this wrong, but they will beat you. But I think that it is important to let the child know the wrong and ask the child, what do you think should happen? Then the child will decide whether this is wrong, I need to be punished for it, or apologize for not doing this. So I think the problem here is we don't take our time to allow ourselves to discover our potentials. So as a result of that, we don't think. That's the difference between us and the people of the West. So I think that it is important to kind of educate our children to know wrong from right, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, and what one can engage to become productive in life. Once these basics are well taught, we can also come back. Can I say this to you? This is my own opinion. The African man is more intelligent than the white man. Yes. Why? Because we possess some characteristics of, I would say, we have a DNA that God has given us not to relent. We can go deeper and work harder, but not intelligently. The African man works harder than the white man. But the white man thinks harder than the African man. Production comes not from strength, it comes from the mind. Like we talked about here. So if you don't train, develop your mind to be productive. Once you're not productive, you can't think properly. It is productivity that makes you think. Once you think productivity, you will think more. That's my own position.
Thank you very much. Now, if you don't build capacity in your thinking, you don't build your thinking capacity, you cannot grow. Have you seen people managing in a room? They're managing and they say, then there's nothing we can do. We can't do anything. There's need to die there. There's something you can do. Break out. Break out. Yes.
Okay, I just want to focus on what is being asked here about.
Can you take the microphone, please?
Okay, just wanted to buttress about what our culture has to do with our development and mindset. I personally believe that the thing we don't do is we don't look into the reasons why we are asked to do some of the things within our culture. And there is an example I always give to my friends that let's say for male circumcision in our tradition here, we used to do it when your kids are 8, 9, 10 years old. And now sometimes when somebody just has a baby before you leave the hospital, you do the circumcision, thinking it's easier and all that. Okay, it's easier for the pain and all that, but at the end of the day, at the age of 10, when you go for the circumcision, right, there are things that you're being taught. For example, it teaches a lot when it has to do with population and family life education. So it teaches you a lot of moral values that you don't have when you're being circumcised at the age of, let's say, at day 1 or day 3 old. So these are some of the things that we have to look up to. We have to look into, sorry. So if you see sometimes some of the things that the kids do out of indiscipline within the society, you understand that they have not passed through what you've passed through. So we think it's nice, okay, it's being modern to do these things, whilst it's taking us back to my own understanding. One of the other things is he spoke about food here. The food we used to eat now. Let's say for moringa, how we see the West doing with the moringa. We used to have what we call cherry and boom here. A lot of people here now, if you bring cherry and boom in this country, they won't eat it because they think it's not food to eat. And now the West, you have moringa soups, moringa oil, moringa bread, moringa everything. So why can't we just go back to where we are? If we want to be who we are not, at the end of the day, we can be who we are and we're not going to be who we are. So we have to go back to the roots and find who we are, find ourselves. You understand? Be who we are and push to showcase what we are. Example today, if I have to watch an Indian movie, you don't watch an Indian movie and see kissing scenes. But now we watch African movies and you're kissing scenes. Do we kiss when we are with our kids? We don't do that. It's not part of our culture, but we try to be cool to talk to other people's culture so much that we forget who we are. So I think it's just to go back to basics and try to understand and know who we are. Then that way we will be able to push to be better people. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Yeah, so there are very good values in our culture. And that's what he's saying, that we need to promote. We need to promote the very good values in our culture and not allow westernization and civilization to take it away from us. So these things, you see, they are all interwoven. It has the good side, it has the bad side. And the most important thing in life is we cannot do without the two. The two coexist, but a man has a choice to make. And the choice is, you want to pick the good and work with it, or you want to pick the bad and work with it. We cannot destroy the bad. It is there and it will keep living. But we have a choice to live with it or not to live with it. Okay. Any other? Yes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Pastor. Good evening. I was going to talk about what you mentioned earlier. We said that most times we see ourselves as saints, and we tend to call people to advise them, tell them how we feel, they should live their lives without necessarily looking at ourselves and asking, maybe to get feedback, trying to get feedback from others on what they think we are also. So in as much as we are, most times we tend to talk to people, correct people, trying to bring people up. I think for us to be able to move forward, also from our shelves and from the position we are, it's necessary for us to always get feedback, open ourselves to feedback, so we can discover ourselves better. Because if you don't deal with your individual yourself, from what you learn this evening, you'll be able to move forward in life. And it's a reflection point.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So the point here is that we need to get feedback, ask yourself questions, ask people who can tell you the truth about yourself. Some of us have people that we don't want to ask anything from because we know what they will say and we don't want to hear it. Hear it will help you. It's always good to hear other people tell you who they think you are, but don't go to people who hate you. They will never tell you anything good. But people that you know want your good, ask them what they think about you. I tell people if I'm going to be your friend, I say, look, don't think because I'm pastor or because you call me pastor, that means I'm perfect. If you see me do anything that you cannot stick with, tell me. Let me know. If I'm doing anything that you don't approve, tell me I don't approve this. Because I may just do it innocently and nobody has ever told me. Do you know there are people that nobody has ever told that something is wrong with them? Everybody is afraid. People are afraid of you. You can never change. And you can never grow beyond who you are. Yes. Is your hand up? No. Any other? Okay, there is a hand up there. Thank you.
You mentioned earlier that every individual has a unique gift.
Everything?
Every individual has a unique gift.
Yes.
So what are the ways that we can identify the gift that we have?
What are the ways that we can identify the gift that we have? I mentioned one way. I said the things you love to do for people. Maybe for you it's when anybody wants to go, they want to buy something in town. You just love asking them, oh, I'm going to town, do you want to buy something? Maybe that's what you enjoy doing. So there is something that you love doing to people, but sometimes this thing we love doing to people, we don't understand it, and sometimes we just think people are using us. Because sometimes we may not discover it, but people discover it in us. And so they keep making demand. Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? And you're like, well, what's the problem here? Am I the only person in this house? Am I the only person in this office? It's because they have seen something in you that they can't find in any other person. So they are putting a demand on you. So there are various ways by which these things can manifest, but it's just that we don't take time to understand them. And sometimes we feel it makes us vulnerable. And so we want to shut it down. But that is something that is special in your life. Does that help? Huh? Okay. Let's take one or two more questions and then we close. Sir, any contribution, any comment? Let's learn from the lecturers.
Thank you very much, sir. I think I enjoyed the whole evening, and of course the question on the African man. That's the bit will always be endless. And my only thing I always add to it is that we should always try to compare the African man before colonization and the African man after colonialism came. And we realize that there are so many instances or evidences of the good things about Africa and Africanness before colonization. And some of these bad things and bad attitudes that kept in after colonization. But the most important thing is, as you said, is attitude and a change in the attitude, because most of us, you have this aspect of assuming without verifying the facts, which is a big stumbling block in most of what is happening to us. So as long as you identify the first problem is look at yourself for change, and you should become the change agent for change, and then progress. Progress. You always get progress. So the first thing is the inward looking. You have to look at what you're doing and ask yourself questions. It is not only the Africanness that we don't ask questions. It is the way we have been brought up. It is the way we are taught even in school. Most of what you do is go to memory. They give you all of these things. Even at this level, at tertiary level, a lot of teachers will give you a lot of things and you have to just memorize and you produce the exams. So most people don't ask questions. Most people are not creative and innovative, and that is what is restricting our ability to develop and move. So if we want to change the world, we should start asking ourselves questions. First about ourselves, then about the environments, the world in which we live, and we will be able to get answers and proper solutions for a better life. I think that's it for the better life. Thank you.
We can make it. Can we? We can make it. You are better than who you are. There is a version of you that you have not seen. There is a version of you have not seen. And that version of you is waiting for you. But you need to engage tomorrow rightly to be able to get into that version of you. Your world does not end with today. The pain, the struggles you have been going through has not brought you to this point to kill you. It is to bring something new out of you. Embrace a new tomorrow. Let's embrace a new tomorrow. Let's embrace change. And if you feel pressured by people, like DG has just said, ask yourself, what am I doing that they are reacting to? Don't just wave it off and say they're just reactionary. They're rebels. People don't just grow up to become rebels. Society breeds them. People were never born rebels. Society trained them to become rebels. So let's not just wave ourselves off or wave the people off with a wave of the hand. That's how they are. No. Ask questions. There is a better tomorrow. It is only a change of our approach, a change of our attitude, a change of our lifestyle that can get us into that better tomorrow. My prayer for every one of us is that God will help us to identify that uniqueness in us and how to put that uniqueness in us into a proper way to serve humanity and to serve God in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you very much for coming. I appreciate you. And I say, God bless you. Amen. So make sure you meet someone. Now, before you go, please, I would like to continue this teaching. It's a series, and the end of it is to lead you to begin to do something physical, something tangible to change your community. So it's a series that leads to a project. It's not a project that I will design, it's a project that you discover from within yourself about who you are and who you want to be to begin to work on. So if you are interested in continuing with me, if I have 5 people, I will continue. If you are interested in continuing with me, we will send text message to you and ask you, just respond to the text message that I am interested. And then I'll schedule a time and we can meet online and then we keep taking it on from there. Is that good? Yes, sir. I'm committed. God bless you. Speak to somebody you don't know. Don't just walk away. Get to know somebody. We need to begin to collaborate.